Good morning, everybody. What is up? Physical therapist, Dr. Ryan Welton, coming to you from just outside the Tampa Bay area. I just took a walk and it was pitch dark out this morning, and I actually had the sense to take my phone out and use the flashlight because there's like a 7 foot alligator where I walk by, and I'm not a huge fan of checking out of this dimension in an alligator's stomach, get my arms ripped off. So just got back and I am doing my live this morning. So okay, so if you are new to following me, my name is physical therapist Dr. Ryan Welton. I have a chronic pain clinic. I call it the I've failed everything clinic because a lot of my patients tell me when they come in here that I've failed everything. And I've learned to get exceptional results within that patient population. I've published statistically historic papers in the field of orthopedics and medicine itself, multiple times what even according to AI, what the New England Journal of Medicine, what the Lancet gets 3 to 5 years post publication. And it continues to do that. Okay. And the reason why is because people are finding it very helpful, what I've published. So a lot of me know, you can join my school group. I linked it here. And then also, if you are, if it's not there, go to weltonmethods.com and go to the courses drop down and become a VIP member. Click that link. It takes you right into my school group where I go much more in depth into clinical teachings as well as cash-based clinic teachings, the extraordinarily successful cash-based clinic that I have developed. Give me 1 second. Hold on, everybody. I am trying to. 1 second, everybody. Bear with me. Okay. All right. So I have published statistically historic papers in the field of orthopedics and in medicine itself. And a lot of people know me as this clinical expert guy, but what they don't know about me is that, yes, I have courses and I teach what I do in here, the methods that I do. The kicker is I develop protocols. So, people all over the world have been cutting and pasting for the better part of a decade, cutting and pasting what I do. And I get messages all the time from all over the world: India, Pakistan, Poland, UK, Bulgaria, Luxembourg. Tell that guy my clinic exploded when I started doing his methods. I repost these for people to see. And I have been teaching for quite some time now. Now, so sign up for my school group for more insights. The link should be below. If not, go to weltonmethods.com, hit the courses drop down, and then click on become a VIP member. It'll take you right into that. But what I am talking about today is eccentric contractions for tendonitis. I don't believe in doing eccentric contractions for tendonitis. Okay. So if you read my published papers, right, I propose in those papers, like, let's say my plantar fasciitis paper, right? So I talk to my students and they're like, yeah, no, I use that protocol. I don't have any trouble with that, that kind of thing when I talk to them. Try it. It's free. Go to my website, weltonmethods.com. But if I irritate the tissue while it's trying to heal, that's what you're trying to do, is allow the person's body to heal. If I irritate this person's tissue, or Achilles tendonitis, something, let's just take a tendonitis, right? If I irritate the tissue, those timetables that you see, and you can test them, those timetables that you see in those papers that I published start to skew. they go, like take much longer, right? And you have all these flare ups, and it's really so for me in my practice, it is not theoretical for me. Okay, it is not theoretical. It is something that is very very testable for me. So I know the outcomes of my protocols in here that I use. So if I start to put on throw in eccentric contractions, all of a sudden my outcomes skew. And I'm like, no, this isn't helping. It's actually hurting, right? So what I realized a long time ago was that my patients didn't need to be poked and prodded by me. They didn't need me to do like all kinds of irritate tissue. What they needed to do was be in the optimal setting to heal, just like holistic doctors who would prescribe a diet. The body knows how to heal itself if you just give it the optimal setting to heal. And that's what I do in here. Now, of course, there's corrective exercises. A lot of these people have muscle imbalances, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Having said that, what I do is very different. I calm their nervous system down. I use electromagnetic fields, all kinds of stuff on this new scientific framework I'm working on, but that I already started to teach. So if you go to my school group, click the link below, go to my school group. I'm talking more about it in there. And I also have live clinical mentorship with 59% off all my courses, okay, where I mentor you clinically, weekly, live with live Q&A. And then I have my hybrid business clinical mentorship where I took the clinical results that I get in here, and I what I do is I charge a lot more than most people because everybody is fighting over the same patients. They're fighting over, like all this competition they think they have in the clinic, right? Oh, I have, another physical therapist down the road or whatever. Like, like I don't have competition. And I'm not saying that out of ego. Like literally, I refer a lot of my patients out to other physical therapists, like simple cases, and I treat the complex ones. I don't have competition. My patients have been like the outfield everything clinic. They don't have anywhere else to go, man. But I use my protocols and I get exceptional results in this patient population. So it is not something that I feel worried about treating this patient population. So I took that clinical mentorship and I combined it with my business, my business seven-figure model based off of these chronic pain conditions that people just generally gave up hope. And I've been teaching that quietly, the business part of it, for the last several years, teaching people how to um, open and run cash-based clinics. Much different than everybody else. Everybody else is fancy, pushy sales techniques. I don't do sales techniques. I'm not a natural salesperson. Most people aren't, if you ask me. And I'm not a natural salesperson. What I do is I just straight up tell you the truth. Like, yeah, no, my success rate with this is X. It should take 5 to 8 weeks. It's a lot of work. Like this is not I fix you. We do this together. I'm not some magician. I just bluntly tell you, what. And patients find that refreshing, actually. Not trying to manipulate their brains into thinking that I'm some, you know, great physical therapist or something like that. Like, no, I just got you out of pain using my clinical methods. Very different. Everybody's trying to sell themselves to these people. I don't have sales techniques. My sales techniques is I get you out of pain, and then I show you how I did it and what we need to do to make it stay. And I just use my protocol. So that's why I combine my clinical mentorship, which is my protocols and diagnostic methods and my pain relief methods, um, with my business mentorship. Because when you combine the two, it's extraordinarily powerful. And then like I have a guy in Iowa, he doesn't have competition. All of his, that I taught this, he doesn't have competition. If you ask him, Josh Stewart, he's a physical therapist. He does not have competition. People come from everywhere to see this guy. And if you look at his reviews, it looks like some extraordinarily gifted um, uh, physical therapist showed up in Iowa and is helping people that have like the I've failed everything story type thing. So anyways, if you would like to join and see what's going on in there with the clinical teachings and the business teachings in there, if you'd like to see more, click on that link below. There should be a school group link right there and join it. If you are not, if you don't see the link, go to weltonmethods.com, and at weltonmethods.com, click the courses, go to become a VIP member. And it takes you right into that. Okay. But eccentric contractions, I don't do them. I do not poke and prod my patients. I find that they do not need to be poked and prodded. Okay. What I do is my protocols. Is what I found in my clinical experience is that the reason why a lot of tendonitis it exists is okay, overuse, right? Overuse. It's right. You're overusing your shoulder. You're throwing too much, whatever. But what I found is that actually the reason why it's being overused in my patients is because they have usually a joint capsule tightness and then also usually a muscle imbalance to boot, right? So they got a joint capsule tightness and a muscle imbalance, okay, in my patients, okay? So when I wrote those papers, like my shoulder paper that I wrote, I say, like, yeah, no, if the posterior capsule is tight, uh, posterior and inferior capsule is tight on all those cases that I outlined in my shoulder paper. And I'm like, and what that does is I take the patient's hand and show them, and I grab onto their wrist like this, and I say, what would happen if I hugged this joint like this, really tight, and I had you bring your hand up and down? How long do you think it would take to piss all that off? And people are like, oh, I get it, Now, of course, there's muscle imbalances that need to be corrected, but generally, this is, what I find is that like in the plantar fasciitis paper I wrote, I also mentioned in there that I use the same protocol for Achilles tendonitis. And what I proposed in there, and it's gone viral and made medical history year after year after year, is that what I proposed in there is actually the posterior capsule of the talocroid joint. Check it. The ankle joint, TC joint, check it. Posterior capsule. I believe you'll find that it's tight. And when it's tight, it strangles the joint. And when it strangles the joint, then the person gets an overuse syndrome. Like that, right? If I did this over and over again and I hugged my wrist, I would get tendonitis in this too, right? So, the research is always wrong anyways. If you ask me, I don't even pay attention. I'll look at a meta-analysis. I don't pay attention to the latest research. And the reason why is, number one, I'm an inventor. I have to figure this out for myself. That's my own process. But number two, I like historically, I'm not just saying that, like go through medical history, therapeutic ultrasound, quote unquote, right? Traction, right? Core stabilization. All of this has been essentially debunked in a meta-analysis, right? Like you just go through one after another that the fads that everybody's telling people to do. What is the latest one? Glute strengthening or something for back pain. Like, I don't do that. Gluteus medius, for sure, for SI joint in my SI joint paper, but not glute strengthening for, for generalized back pain. No, I don't do that. I'm not a fan of that. The one thing people say about me all the time, and there's a testimonial right now going around of Dr. Nall, who's a chiropractor who took all my courses. He's like, it was so easy. Yeah. Isaac Newton famously said that the answer is not in the multiplicity and confusion of things. The answer is in the simplicity of things. Yeah, I agree. And my protocols are so simple, and the reason why they're so simple is because I got rid of the fluff. I tested these things out and I'm like, yeah, you don't need this, you don't need that, you don't need that. And boom, here are my protocols. I published some of them and they made historical, statistical, medical history. But there are other ones that, I teach in my courses that I use in here, and I find them just as effective with my patients that I do with, you know, with, you know, with ones that I publish. So Anyways, I don't worry about the clinical part so much. It's not something I worry about, you know. And then also, people people like me think that they're better than they are, you know, like I'm some like super important guy, you know, like actually a lot of these people need the home exercise program to be rebalanced. You know, I mean, you can relieve pain and you can do all kinds of things, but like that's what I find. You know, they need a home exercise program, and that's the real driver in success. You know, like people that say like I had this person come to me from another part of the country, and they were like, um, yeah, no, I have, back pain or whatever, and my therapist told me that like, you know, like to just do my exercises in the office, and I'm like, no home exercise program. I'm like, why? You know? And the person, I don't know, you didn't give it to. I'm like, you're never gonna get better doing that. You know, like it's like a miracle to me if the person doesn't get better, if the person gets better without a home exercise program. Like you have to, a lot of these issues are mechanical issues. Like SI joint is a mechanical issue. Sacral torsion shear, mechanical issue. It has to be realigned and stabilized. SI joints, realigned and stabilized. Read my papers, weltonmethods.com, and I'll show you what I do. And I do not worry about these issues. Okay? Generally speaking. Every once in a while, someone gives me a run for my money. But and then if you want, click the link below, join my school group. Okay, go much more in depth. I have my clinical mentorship, which I'm limited spots. I am onboarding now. And then my hybrid clinical business mentorship, where people charge $400 for 30 minutes. And they get paid for actually being good at their job. No more, we all get paid the same from insurance companies, whether you spend countless hours investing in your education where the guy next to you's not, but you're getting paid the same. Like, tell me an industry where that happens, right? You know, like lawyers, if you win most of your cases, you get paid more. Accountants, the ones that work with the billionaires, they pay them tons of money. Why? Because they save them money, right? If you're just a standard person in that field, then you charge a standard amount, but you charge what you believe you're worth. You know what I'm saying? So what I do, my goal is to get us diagnostically and treatment wise up here. And like I just talked to a physical therapist the other day that just signed up for my hybrid business clinical mentorship. And she does all my protocols. And I asked her name is Tatiana Shaket. She is a brilliant physical therapist in Colorado. And I said, Tatiana, what percentage of your patients get better? And she said, all of them. I'm like, all of them, you know? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, you don't even understand how good you are. So she applied my protocols and went shoom, like this. And my, all my methods. She took my courses. I met her years ago at a course. And I'm like, you don't even realize. Like you are literally one of the best in the world at what you do, man. Or, not man, but literally one of the best in the world at what you do. Like, okay, let's start having you charge for that. Like if you're the best lawyer in the world, then you get paid according to that. Like just it's like communism to me. It's ridiculous. We all get paid the same. You know, nonsense. Plus those insurance. I did whole videos about how that is one of the greatest elaborate scams that I have found in history. Doesn't cover anything. And then from a provider standpoint, they make you jump through hoop after hoop after hoop. And it is an elaborate scam, if you ask me. Highly engineered. It's almost like feel like clapping for them, but people die from it, so you don't want to clap for them. All right, I'm out. Peace. Love you all. Join my group.